The film begins with a man climbing a mountain, relying on his strength and courage, but he loses his grip and falls to his death. In the aftermath, his friends and family gather for his burial. Nick, a private investigator, reveals that the deceased was part of the wealthy Varden family. Following the recent death of their father, Elias is left with his twin brother Leo, their mother Audrey, and Leo's wife, Penelope. Nick arrives on the island, where Penelope asks him to discreetly investigate Leo's death, convinced it was not accidental. She offers to double his fee and provide free lodging for his help. Nick is taken to a monastery for his stay, where he drinks heavily to cope with his own issues. In town, Nick bribes a police officer for information about Leo's death and meets George Mina, the detective on the case. Posing as an investigator from a global life insurance company, Nick requests access to Leo's death file, hinting that a family member might be involved. George is hesitant, so Nick leaves his card, hoping for a change of heart. Later, Nick follows Elias to the mountainside and sees him climbing without safety gear. Introducing himself as an agent from the National Intelligence Service, Nick fabricates a story about Leo being a major shareholder in a company. Elias, believing the ruse, agrees to meet for coffee. During their chat, Nick asks about Elias's relationship with Leo. Elias admits they had typical sibling disagreements, but insists they were generally close, recalling a significant argument 3 weeks before Leo's death. Just as their conversation deepens, Elias receives a message revealing Nick's true identity. Nick convinces George to work with him, and as they revisit their earlier discussion, Nick starts to suspect that Elias might be hiding something, possibly due to jealousy. George, however, is skeptical, noting Elias's wealthy background. While looking at George's board, Nick notices a photo suggesting a connection between Giannis, a drug lord and Elias's associate, and the case. Eager to learn more, Nick arranges another meeting with Penelope to ask about her link to Leo. She shares their story of meeting at Oxford, where she was a scholarship student and waitress, and Leo showed interest in her. This conversation reminds Nick of his own troubled marriage, particularly a painful night when he found his wife dressed up, only to learn she was going out with someone else, marking his first experience of real jealousy. In the present, Penelope gives Nick the address of where she first met Leo. During his investigation, he finds a headband and family photos, along with a family friend who might have more information. He questions Victoria Lackey about the night the twin brothers clashed at a bar. Victoria claims she only served drinks and knows little, but reveals that Leo worked for the family business while Elias was the CEO, with their mother managing operations. She mentions that although Leo loved Penelope, Elias was the more dominant brother, which is why he ran the company, while Leo was seen as too timid. Penelope then takes Nick to the crime scene, showing him where Leo's body was found. Nick is shocked that Leo could have climbed the mountain using just his hands and no safety gear. Penelope explains that their father had taken them on dangerous adventures as children, including mountain climbing. Penelope reminisces about her college days, revealing that Elias knew Leo had feelings for her. Seizing a moment when Leo was distracted, Elias took Leo's phone and messaged Penelope to invite her to study, quickly deleting the text to keep Leo unaware. Later, Elias pretended to be Leo and approached Penelope, who fell for the deception. Eventually, she and Leo slept together, and when asked, she admitted she had known it was Elias all along but chose to stay quiet. After graduation, Leo is heartbroken, having lost Penelope to his twin brother, Elias, who is also the favored child and CEO of their family business, Oris, which frustrates Leo. Nick, a private investigator, wants to meet Leo's mother, Audrey, to discuss some troubling news. Penelope hesitates, but eventually tells him about a yacht party that evening where he can meet her. At the party, Nick introduces himself to Audrey as Leo's friend, sparking a conversation. He mentions a rumor that Leo was murdered instead of dying in an accident, upsetting Audrey and prompting her to warn Nick against interfering in family matters. Elias then confronts Nick aggressively, threatening to throw him off the boat if he doesn't leave, raising Nick's suspicions about him. The next day, Nick receives alarming news from his friend George. His boss has warned him to avoid Nick or face deportation back to Africa. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, Nick decides to work alone. He goes to meet Victoria at a bar only to find it closed. With no other options, he begins to surveil the family and sees Elias handling a large amount of cash. Following Elias to a club, he witnesses a deal with Giannis, but is soon spotted, beaten, and threatened. The next morning, Nick meets Penelope to discuss the previous day's events. During his investigation, he learns that hikers must use a boat to access the mountain, but he doesn't know which one. He seeks help from George, getting closer to finding Leo's killer. Nick requests a file on all the island's boats, focusing on those active the day Leo died. Together, they go to the dock and find the boat, but Giannis's men spot them. In the chaos, George shoots one of the men but is killed by Giannis. Reacting quickly, Nick grabs George's gun and kills Giannis. Later, Nick mourns his friend's loss. While reviewing the autopsy report, he notices something odd in the X-rays that raises his suspicions. He contacts Penelope, revealing he has uncovered the truth and asks her to watch Elias, ensuring Audrey is present when he arrives. When Nick reaches the house, Elias threatens to call the police, but Nick tells him they are already on their way. He reveals that Elias has been impersonating Leo. The real Leo killed Elias out of jealousy to take his identity, as Elias was the favored son, the CEO, and had won Penelope's love, which enraged Leo. Nick also mentions that Penelope knew about Elias's deception during college due to his behavior and skills in bed. Realizing her son is an imposter, Audrey shoots Leo and is arrested for murder. After the case is closed, Nick prepares to return to New York. However, recalling something Penelope said, he exits the plane, takes a taxi to the yacht, and finds Penelope elegantly dressed. As a skilled investigator, Nick deduces that Penelope orchestrated the entire scheme. She explains that she sought freedom but was trapped by Elias, so she collaborated with Leo. Nick praises her intelligence, and now she has the opportunity to step into the role of CEO. Penelope inquires about Nick's family issues, to which he reveals that he once felt an overwhelming urge to harm his wife, but reconsidered when he looked at his daughter's face. To steer clear of further conflict, he decided to leave the country. The film concludes with Penelope escorting Nick to one of the family's private jets bound for New York, allowing him to reunite with his family. If you enjoyed this video, don't be shy to hit the like button, and if you disliked it, hit the dislike button twice, just to be sure.